Gravity is all that I know. She's over me. She's over me. She comes with her hypnotic dance. She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paranormal Portal. These are the Night Terrors. It's our Thursday night show. On Thursdays and Sundays, we do the shorter format shows for any of you that might be new to all of this. And this is where we just kind of break down one subject and give it about an hour of attention, and that's about the show. But don't forget, at the end of the show, we're going to do the Trail Cam Terrors, and we got a video to show you tonight. I think it's a good one. It's interesting, and we'll let you guys be the judge, though. But let's see, what am I forgetting? First of all, I want to mention that I'm not here alone, that I am joined by my firstborn, who's right here with me, and he's helping to take some of the burden that is the Paranormal Portal off my shoulders. And this is, of course, my son Sheldon Thomas, who's joining us tonight. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing really well. Thank you for asking. And since you're here, I thought we would take a moment and remind everybody. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there's a new project that's been undertaken by us here in the Paranormal Portal, and to be truthfully transparent, a lot of the burden and effort for this new feature has been Sheldon. And what has happened is that we have started this new YouTube channel called Paranormal Portal Pieces. And with this new channel, what we're doing is we're breaking down long format shows from our normal channel that you're watching right now. And we're creating 10 to 15 minute videos of segments from these shows. And the idea is that whenever you're trying to capture a new audience, the long format shows are a little intimidating, because if people don't know your show, why would they invest an hour or 2 hours or an hour and a half or whatever in a show that they're not familiar with? So this was our opportunity to take these long format shows and create little bite-sized nuggets of these shows to showcase on the Paranormal Portal Pieces channel. And so that's what we've done, and that is actually up on the screen right now. And I put the link into the chat, but this is the Paranormal Portal Pieces, folks. So I think it's a great channel, a great opportunity to bring people into the mix and hopefully introduce a whole bunch of more people to the Paranormal Portal. But what I'm asking is that all of you out there that are watching this would also subscribe, because I'm sure that most of you haven't seen all 1,070 some shows that we've done. If I hadn't been there, I wouldn't think I'd seen them either, but I was actually there for all of them, or for most of them, 99.99% of them. But Don actually hosted a show or two in the years since we've started. But it's just an opportunity to check out more of what's going on in the archives, and maybe you'll find other episodes you want to check out. Currently, there's 2 episodes that we've created the little shorts about, and those are an episode with Vic Cundiff, where we talked to Vic Cundiff of course, Dogman Encounters Radio, and the other one was Linda Godfrey, which that episode continues to be our most popular episode ever, with tens of thousands of downloads to its credit. But we've got those two opened up for now, and Sheldon is working on new ones, which will be uploaded on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So that's our new project that we've just released this week. And so we hope you guys will check it out. Hopefully, you will like the videos, of course, that you'll subscribe to the Pieces channel as well, and that you'd spread it around to let other people know. Because again, and we ask you all the time, hey, let other people know about the portal. But again, there's long episodes, and it's still hard to get people to make that commitment. So this is maybe a quicker, easier way to do that. So if you would do that, that would be a great thing for us, and it would help us out a ton. And we hope you enjoyed that channel as well. So that's the new announcement. And again, Sheldon, nice job on all that stuff, buddy. You've done an amazing job, and thank you so much for all your efforts in this regard.
Well, for sure. I'm glad to make a contribution like this towards the show, and to hopefully create something new and something that synergizes well with the show and to the audience as well.
Absolutely. I think people like it. We've gotten a lot of great feedback so far, and again, it's just only been open for a few days now, but there's 56 subscribers. I'm really excited to get it to the 100 subscriber mark, because then I can get the custom URL. But then of course we want it to grow and grow and grow. But that's the newest effort, effort to continue to make the show grow. So if you want to help support that, we'd really appreciate it. Again, the link is in the show chat. I pasted it up above. I guess I could paste it again just for the sake of doing it now that I've explained what it is. And there it is. That's the channel for the Paranormal Portal Pieces. So thank you so much in advance for those of you that are willing to do that. It helps us a ton, and it'll just help the show to continue to grow. So, but as always, throughout the course of our shows, the phone lines are open. If you want to call in and be a part of the discussion, you sure can. The number is 720-923-0500. Those are the numbers for fun right here on the Paranormal Portal. Again, 720-923-0500. If you got something paranormal that you want to share, we'd love to hear from you and have you talk about it with us. That's always the highlight of my shows, is when we get that participation. But if you're not much for being on the phone and kind of intimidating, then feel free to email us at paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. That's another avenue to share your experience, if you don't mind typing a little bit and putting it out there for us. But anyway, I don't know, Sheldon, I think that's everything on the front end. So
think so.
I guess all I can say is I hope you all are ready, because it's time for bed. Boom. I forgot to unmute myself. Boom, as it were. Now tonight, ladies and gentlemen, on this Night Terrors, we're going to be diving into the ghostly encounter stuff, and that is one of my favorite topics. I mean, I guess I can't say I have a favorite topic, because I really am passionate about all of the paranormal, but I've continued to say on the course of the show that of all of the phenomena, I think the most commonly experienced and encountered is spiritual activity. I think everybody either has had experiences or knows someone that has. And I can't say that that's true for Bigfoot or UFOs or any of the other fun stuff that we cover, but definitely everybody seems to have a ghost story or two. And maybe it's a family story, maybe it's their own personal story, but it's definitely something that is a global phenomena as well, and it exists in all the cultures around the world, that there are stories of spiritual encounters and confrontations. So it's the most prolific, in my opinion, and I might be wrong about that, but I would bet I'm probably right.
I think so.
Well, I'd like to think so anyway. I like to think I'm right, Sheldon, but
usually. So
we're gonna dive into some article here that I've got pulled up. This is an article, first off, is from ranker.com, And this is a list of, from their graveyard shift segment that they have over there. And this is a list of 17 people share their personal encounters with ghosts. Are you ready to dive into that, Sheldon?
I'm always ready for some ghost stories.
Do you like ghost stories, by the way?
I love all the stories we share in here, but I think because of my experiences with the supernatural, as far as ghosts, I think I have a soft spot for ghost stories.
Yeah, I think it's probably one that yeah, I know you've had a few encounters of your own, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, it's relatable, and I think that's the truth for most people. Now, there's a lot of people that will refuse to believe in them no matter what they're shown, and we've certainly covered that a ton on the shows too. But I think it's again one that most people can relate to. So let's get to the first one, and this one's called "Saying Goodbye," and it's from user No Knockers.
Oh man, this sounds like a sad one.
Yeah, I guess so. My grandma called us in the middle of the night and said that her brother had just came and visited her, knocked on her door, and when she got up and answered, he waved at her and walked away. Well, we told her it was just a dream and everything was okay, and her brother was just fine. He was of good health. But the next morning we got the call. He had passed away that night around the time that she called us, 11:13 p.m., if I remember correctly.
Oh, no.
Well, that's kind of beautiful, though, right? Again,
it's one of those, like, it's kind of like a sweet but spicy food kind of thing. Like it's beautiful, but it's a sign of something terrible.
It's like jalapeno and cake.
Onion cake, did you say?
Jalapeno cake, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean it is. Of course, it's eventually you just gotta say goodbye. But at least the person got a visit, And I think those are such powerful experiences when people can have that kind of closure, because it's like, well, obviously he's fine. He moved, he came over and waved, and that looked good, looked happy. So,
oh, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
I think that's one of the hardest things about the death phenomenon. I think for all of us is the unknown. We all have heard the horror stories about there's a good place and there's a bad place, and if you're a good person, then you get to go to the good place, and if you're a bad person, then you get to go to the bad place, and I think that's the unknown, because I think we all have the good and bad in us. I mean, we're all angels and we're all demons, I guess, in a sense. We've got both of those qualities in us. Like sometimes we can be real bastards, and other times we can be these incredibly loving, kind people. And so when you get to the end of the chain and you start looking, well, how did I do? What's the scorecard looking like? And of course, when you love somebody, you don't want to think of them being in this position of torment. So I think that's, those things are painful and scary. And then there's the other idea, what if there's nothing? Of course, I think you aren't human if you don't think, what if it's just nothing? Like lights out, boom, it's done. But
plus, it doesn't help this discourse if you come in with the belief that there's nothing. It's like, well, then there's nothing to talk about, I guess.
yeah, right. What are you going to do about it? It's nothing. Lights out, boom, it's over. But I think that when people have these experiences, it's just an instant, hey, it's okay. They're okay, and that's, I think, goes a long way to settle that ache and that pain and that unknown and that worry and that, trepidation and fear. It doesn't fill in the blank of, having this new hole in you that used to be occupied by this person, but at least they're okay. I don't know. Just to me, I think that's so powerful. And again, I've had an experience like that with several people that have passed away. Not in person. It was all in dreams. But I found them to be incredibly healing and incredibly encouraging to have those meetings with people.
Yeah.
All right. The next one is called BAM. B-A-M. BAM. Let's get into this. BAM. All right. This is from user Nile. N-I-H-L. I never saw a ghost, but I did rent a haunted house for a year, unexpectedly. It was an old house, built in the very early 1800s, and the rent was decent, and it was a stone's throw from a bar we always went to. When we moved in, there was a couple renting the first floor, and we were on the second. My roommate and I started noticing strange things going on, Some I can probably explain away, but some I can't. A door that would be open for weeks would slam in your face as you went into the next room. A few items would fly off of the mantel, not fall gently off the edge, fall a good few feet from the shelf. This only happened a few times. My roommate's computer would fire up and start loading Rainbow Six in the middle of the night, though didn't see any kind of scheduled task that would do this. His clock radio would also go off at random times in the middle of the night and play the radio. The worst part for me was my roommate worked nights, so I was always by myself each night. I'd go to bed, lay there, and get that feeling that someone was just standing right in the doorway looking at me. Not an angry feeling, just the sense that someone was definitely there. I'd constantly shut my eyes, get such a strong feeling of being watched, open my eyes and look at the doorway, and repeat this over and over again. It seemed to us that things picked up whenever something changed in the house. Shortly after moving in, the couple downstairs broke up, and things happened more often while she was moving about. About 6 months after that boyfriend's lease was up, and he moved out, a new couple moved in, and the activity picked up again. My wife, girlfriend at the time, simply would not go in the house if I wasn't home. I would often find her sitting on the front steps waiting for me. One night we blew a fuse. Yes, old screw-in fuses. I had an old Victorian house that had those too. And I wasn't home. I was home alone, so I had to go down and change it. The basement was just a dirt floor, and as I'm down there, I remember thinking to myself that this is right out of every horror movie ever made. That's the end of the story, so.
What? A cliffhanger?
Yeah, not even really, because it sounds like, yeah, I went down there, it was scary. The end.
Yeah, but like, what happens next? I need to know.
I guess nothing. Apparently went down to change the fuse and everything was fine, but that was kind of abrupt. I don't know if that was abridged or what, but that was kind of an abrupt story.
Yeah.
The next one is a messy ghost. This is from Evil Arts. Nice. Jeez. My mom lives in this old 1800s era house, so I'm sure there's lots of drafts, loose boards, and etc. I was sitting alone upstairs when all of a sudden I heard a loud noise. I go downstairs to the basement and find that the Sam's Club-sized bottle of powdered detergent had been propelled from next to the washing machine to the far wall in the basement. Man, that was a mess to clean up. Yeah, they don't normally do that. Sheldon, they don't normally do that.
Last I heard, they don't move on their own. Yeah.
No, they haven't built those yet. They haven't built that design yet. So as far as I know, they're just supposed to sit there until you pick them up. But yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of ones that really take me off too. It's like, oh, come on. You know?
Yeah, like it's not scary. It's just like, now I have to clean this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I said when the chandelier came out of the ceiling. It was just like, oh, come on. I got to fix that now. You know, honest to God, swear to God, that's a true story. I was just pissed because, I mean, I was the owner of this Victorian home, and I didn't really know what that meant until you live in an old Victorian home and you realize everything is expensive. Everything is, you know, if you're not a good person for fixing things yourself, you got to hire everything done. It was like I just walked through there and I felt this feeling, turned around, and poof, it hit the floor. I was just pissed because I was just like, come on, you know? But that's a true
Classic
story.
Sign of a bear.
Of a bear? Huh?
Yep. Yeah, inside joke with Gigi.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It was a bear, you know.
Probably.
Yeah.
Bear known to do such things. An Indian burial ground is next. I'm sorry, I had to put in gum, but now it's all spitty.
Nice.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. I should have started chewing this before the show. But I thought, well, maybe I make it tonight, but it got dry again. So I fell in love my first time with a truly amazing girl. We moved in together after dating for 2 months. I moved in with her because her rent was ridiculously cheap for Santa Barbara. Before I moved in, she told me, I don't want you to freak out, but my house is haunted. Being the rational scientific guy that I was like, sure, whatever you say. I didn't believe one word of it. In fact, when I tell people this story today, I don't expect them to believe it either. A little background on this house. It was a fairly old shotgun style with peeling white paint on the outside and 40-year-old plaster and lath inside. Morning glory vines covered one entire exterior wall and were making their way inside. They grew in through windows and cracks in the walls, and one had found its way into a cupboard and wrapped around an old martini glass, lifting it slightly off its base, suspending it in the air. Wow. This is some aggressive flowers. Wow. The lease in one of her old roommates' name was 5 years expired, and the landlord hadn't been there in much longer than that. Someone had built an illegal addition onto the back of the house at some point. Needless to say, I fell in love with the house immediately. The story she told, which she told me had been researched at the library by her and others, goes like this. When the Spanish settlers would execute a Native American, they would hang them from a tree, and when they were dead, cut the rope and bury the body where it fell. The Native American called this area, they did this, the place where the white oaks grow. Catchy, ain't it? This is my new backyard. It was illegal to dig down more than 6 feet. Yep, an Indian burial ground. One day I was sitting on the floor alone in our room, screwing around on my computer, and I reached into my pocket and retrieved my pack of smokes. I had barely put it in my mouth when I felt something bounce off my knee. My lighter, which had been sitting 3 feet away on top of my turntables, was now sitting on the floor next to me. Another time I was reading in our bed and I heard something underneath the bed. Pretty freaked out, but curious nonetheless, I peered over the edge of the bed and watched an empty wine bottle roll out from underneath, then back, and then back out again. I was standing at my mixer playing some records when all of a sudden I felt something grab the back of my shirt and pull it sharply. The front of my shirt was pressed sharply against my Adam's apple for a brief instant, and then the tension released. Heart pounding, adrenaline surging like Niagara Falls, I spun around, fists up instinctively, to find nothing. I put my back against the wall and just tried to relax, then it happened again. Just a quick jerk of the hem of the shirt, but this time there was plaster wall at my back. A few more things happened, but this post is long enough already. I never felt threatened, but I had my rational and logical mind challenged to a degree that I never thought possible. I don't have any explanation for that house or the things that occurred, and I don't imagine I ever will. Sounds kind of neat. I don't know.
It's always the case that whenever I hear, I have read these stories too before where places where there's hauntings and where it's heavy spiritual activity.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they always end up, well, maybe not always, but the ones I've read, they always end up finding out, oh, it's on top of a ancient burial ground or some kind.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah, they don't seem to really be like they for whatever reason, and maybe it's the old feelings from when they were alive, but generally speaking, the native burial grounds are not a good place for people to build houses. It's like they get, and maybe I'm not trying to say that that's only a Native American burial ground. I don't think it's a good idea anywhere there's a burial ground to start building houses. And there was a real big, it's kind of the basis for the Poltergeist movie. The first one is that a lot of beautiful real estate was allocated to these cemeteries. But as societies grew, they ended up moving the cemeteries and built houses in those areas because it was beautiful real estate. Well, a lot of companies cut corners, and they didn't actually move the graves. They just moved the headstones. And you end up with a lot of really, really pissed off spirits in those situations. So, I don't know. Very weird.
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah, actually kind of tragic, too.
It is. It's horrible, but I don't know. I guess I can understand. If you've got this one solemn resting place and suddenly somebody's building a pool right over your forehead or something. It's like, wait a minute, I don't like this anymore. So I'm just saying. What?
Sorry.
That's it. Go ahead.
Okay. Ghost Magnets asked, what kind of gum are you chewing? I just got a whiff of gum like Mentos or Orbits. I have a cold and loss of smell and taste, but I'm smelling this right after you put in gum.
Trident.
Trident.
Tropical fruit. Yeah, it's the big tub of them that you get at the grocery store. I like them. They're nummy, but they make me all spitty. I wonder, isn't that funny if you got the same whiff? I smell tropical fruit. What? But no, they're not minty at all. They're very fruity, but it's just like as soon as you start chewing, it's like boom, your mouth is just soaked. All right, the next story from a deleted Reddit user who we don't know who that is. Who did the last one? What was the name? Oh yeah, DSL Ash DX. Okay. All right, so this one's deleted. We don't know, but it says, I'm out of here. I went to sleep in my bed one night a while back, and as I was laying there, I heard a dragging sound on the carpet next to the bed. Kind of like if you were to drag your foot slowly across the carpet for a few seconds. Well, I thought nothing of it and continued to lay there, and then I heard it again and realized it was very distinct and definitely not my imagination. So I sat up, unable to see anything in the dark, and thought, okay, if that happens again, I'm out of here. And sure enough, right next to me. So I went and slept on the couch and refused to sleep alone in my own bedroom for 5 months or so. A couple of months ago, I got over it, but who knows?
Wow. Something didn't like him there.
Yeah, I guess not. Okay. Well, sometimes it can be territorial. I was going to say before, because the other story alluded to, the houses were so-and-so active, but if you changed anything, then they really got active. Well, that's a really quick way to see if you've got any kind of haunting. If you've got any dormant or otherwise spiritual energies around. If you want to see if your house is haunted, start doing some renovations. Because that knocks free the activity like crazy. Now, I got a notice.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't know if it's always the fact that, they like the curtains. Why did you change them? Now I'm pissed. It might be just the fact that a house has an energy, and maybe we are part of that energy, just having lived in those houses. That part of us is stored in there, and maybe it's in a really dormant state. But once you start changing things, changing walls, changing, the way things are, you might be kind of rattling that energy loose, for lack of a better term. And if it's a sentience, even if it's a dormant energy, like maybe the whole residual thing, it might start releasing that activity more commonly. So it doesn't necessarily mean you've got an active, intelligent haunting, but it's definitely one way to find out what's going on in your house. Just start redecorating, start renovations, start remodeling, and if something's there, you'll know about it pretty quick.
Right.
All right. This one is from Imyth, an unfriendly ghost. I was at a friend's house when his stepfather was in the hospital. We just finished watching this movie about the Holocaust, and we're talking about it in his living room. And then this freezing moan of despair comes from the next room. Oh, God. We both just stared at each other like, what in God's name was that? And we both thought perhaps his mom had just gotten the news of his stepfather's death. He went to check on her, but it turned out she was sleeping in her daughter's room on the opposite end of the house. There was nobody in that side of the house at all. Eesh. Well.
Okay.
Well, that's a moaning sound, but how do you know it's unfriendly? I mean, other than the fact that it freaked them out, I don't know if that's criteria to know that it was unfriendly or not. Maybe it was some empathy for the Holocaust. You never know. I
mean, yeah, it could be just an apparition from a different time, energy coming out at that specific moment.
This is the one I need. I need Sheldon, the Beyond the Grave back rub.
Agreed.
So from user, so how long can my name be? One word. I was sleeping on a friend's couch and felt someone sit down behind me and start rubbing my back. I rolled over to tell him I wasn't his wife, and nobody was there.
Wow.
So she thought she was getting hit on, and she was gonna correct that whole thing, and found out she was sitting there alone.
Hey, people have gotten married just from those instances.
Apparently, he already had one of those, though. Apparently, the guy she was staying at the house already had a wife. So,
Well, the ghost wanted her more.
the house probably she was maybe available. I heard my mom screaming is next from user morally inept. I was probably 7 and sharing a room with my 2 brothers when I saw something. I woke up in the middle of the night and saw a small bar of light dancing on the heater of the room. I was scared and tried to wake my brothers, but being on the top bunk and being too scared to move, I was unsuccessful. Then something said my name and I nearly peed my pants. It disappeared a few minutes later and my mom started screaming that there was something in her room. Oof.
Oh.
Wow. There you go. Well, it's good to have a little backup on that one. It's not just you.
No.
This next one is I don't want to talk about it. That's from user AV Nerd. Hold on, I got a cough. Thanks for the sign. I mute myself and then you go ahead and fill it in. Thank you very much. All right. On Thanksgiving, years ago, we were going to have a dinner at my cousin's house. I'd gotten a turkey and made dressing and all, but had so much other baking to do that I took the turkey over to their house to roast. I arrived early in the morning and my cousin's husband let me in the front door. Their house was pretty old, but had been restored. From the front door, there was a hallway to the kitchen, and in the middle of the hallway was a door to a small bathroom. The bathroom was so small that the door opened out into the hallway. My cousin's husband walked ahead of me so that he could close the door to the bathroom. Instead of closing it and walking on into the kitchen, he stepped into the bathroom and pulled the door closed so that I could continue on into the kitchen carrying the roasting pan heavy with the turkey. As I passed the now closed bathroom door, I felt a tremendous energy move through the hallway, sort of like a strong wind, and also move through me. I took a step or two, and as I was entering the kitchen, a very large man stormed by me, gruffly walking through the kitchen, and went through the swinging door in the side dining room. Just as that happened, my cousin's husband popped out of the bathroom and walked into the kitchen. I was just standing there, just holding the turkey, and I said to him, "Did you see that?" And then I looked over to the still swinging door. He, a very in-your-face New Yorker, looked at me straight in the eye and said, "I don't want to talk about it," and turned around and went upstairs. I put the turkey pan down and went into the dining room, but there was no one there. Wow, that's an actual apparition.
An
Very
actual
rare.
one that
Very
reacted with the environment.
Yeah, very intelligently reacted, yeah.
Yeah.
Your ghost is gone now, Grandma. And wasn't this person already did one? Nile, N-I-L-H-L? I thought we just did one from Nile.
Maybe.
I thought we did. Hold on, I'm going to look. Yeah, it was the BAM one. Okay. That was the guy that didn't believe in ghosts or whatever.
Now he does.
Wow, he's got another story, so there must be something. Last year, my brother and his family moved back from the West Coast and stayed with my parents for a few months before finding a house of their own. Each year, my parents host a huge family party on Christmas Eve. This past year, my 33-year-old cousin went up to my parents' room to get his and his wife's coats off my parents' bed. He said he walked into the room and there was this old guy standing next to the bed. He said the guy was wearing a red plaid suit, dirty overalls, and had a full white beard. Santa. My cousin was confused, but thought maybe he was a neighbor or something that my parents had invited. I was there, and when he came down and asked my mom who that guy in their room was, my mom thought he was busting balls and then forgot about it. My parents started thinking back, and a few weeks before, they had heard really loud banging in the house. They looked everywhere, thinking a shelf tipped over or something, but couldn't find anything out of place. A few minutes after they stopped, they heard it again. This is about 9 p.m. A few weeks later, my 5-year-old nephew, out of nowhere, says to my mom, "You have a ghost, you know. He has a white face." My mom tried to play it cool, but It kind of freaked her out since my nephews were living there at the time. A few weeks later, he said, "Your ghost is gone now, Grandma." And they haven't had any other experiences since. So I guess he just swung in for the holidays or something. Right?
Interesting. Just kind of there and gone.
That's it. That's it.
Interesting.
A black tri-cornered hat. So it's by Reddit user N Utensil. Okay.
Nice.
N Utensil. I was startled awake a few years ago by a ghost standing beside my bed as I napped on a sunny afternoon, while others were downstairs on the deck enjoying a barbecue. Sorry. Gums drive me crazy. He was in a dark cloak with a hood, head bowed, and he appeared to be holding a small book in his hands before him. He has been seen many times since by other visitors, but never again by me. My mother later admitted that a similar figure had appeared in her bedroom just below this one within the first month of her living in the house, which she built. Only he had nothing in his hands, though he was holding them out in front of him and wore a black tri-cornered hat. His hands were always in front of him, and he usually appears to be holding something, but he's also appeared twice as a woman wearing something like a wedding veil over his head and holding flowers. What? How do they know that's the same apparition?
Yeah.
And yes, I've done some research on the history of the land where this house is built. There was a French trading post in the 1700s, about 90 miles from here, and you can still see the remains of an old railroad track and a foundation nearby out in front of this house, which has existed before the lake was created. That's quite a supposition. It's like, well, yeah, you got this ghost and he likes to dress up like a woman every once in a while. It's like,
yeah, I guess.
How do you know? How do you know? It's not like they're seeing these real delicate features or anything. It's that first he's hooded with hands out in front of him, and then he's wearing a tri-cornered hat or whatever. Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know. That one's weird. That
yeah.
is weird, though, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
I'd like to know how they came to all these conclusions that it was the same spirit, just cross-dressing. That's really...
So that story is a little suspect.
That's a little sus, yep. Absolutely. Yep. Well, let's get to Goosebumps and see what's going on here. This is by AV Nerd again. The first memorable one was when I went to the house of a family friend who had just moved into our town. She invited me into her kitchen for tea, and we sat at a small table and were visiting. At one point, she excused herself, so I sat there alone, and then I glanced across the room to the stove and saw a man hanging by the neck. I don't know why I wasn't scared, but I wasn't. When I looked again, he was gone. When my friend returned, I said to her, "I don't know if this is going to mean anything to you, but I just saw a man hanging by his neck over there." And I motioned towards the stove. She went white and said, "There's no way you know this because we didn't tell anyone, but the reason we moved here is because our roommate hung himself in our basement 2 months ago." Well, that's when I got the goosebumps. Whoa, that's creepy.
Wow.
So he's following them.
I mean, for a ghost to follow people, but then like, "I'm going to show you how I died." It's like, why?
Hey, nice to meet you. Want to hear about me? Here you go. Yep.
Jeez.
Let's talk more me now. All right, so this is the friendly cologne bottle. This is the next one from Un du trois is kid. Un du trois kid. That's 1, 2, 3 in like French, isn't it? Un du trois, I think.
Never took French. I have no idea.
I think so. Well, anyway, I'm just trying to sound smart here. Sorry.
Well, Android earlier said that you had a very good Brooklyn accent.
Oh, well, thanks. Quit busting my chops, huh? Thank you. Flash forward to the end of 10th grade. Oh, wait, my family, I never even started the story. My family bought a used car. There was some random stuff, nothing weird, just normal stuff you would find in a car trunk. And one of the things found was a nearly full bottle of cologne. I've never worn cologne, but my mom said to hold on to it for some reason, and I did. Flash forward to the end of 10th grade. That day was the day we were supposed to turn in our school books, and I had a psychology class, and there was 3 different books for that class, but we mainly just used one, and that was the only one that I was going to take back that day. So I was sitting at the foot of my bed getting ready for school. Then out of the corner of my eye, I saw the cologne bottle tip and then straighten back up. I immediately snapped my head over to look at it, and I stood up and I saw that the cologne bottle was standing on top of my other psychology books that I was supposed to return that day. Oh, so it was a little cue like, hey, don't forget these.
A possessed cologne bottle. I like it.
I don't know if the bottle's possessed, but
No,
there could be an
I know.
attachment. There could be. I don't know. Oh, this is weird. He died jumping from the terrace. From user Andaru. I'm a skeptic and an atheist, but after my mom died, I felt the need to explore with weird ideas, so I went to one of those New Age courses to unlock the powers of the mind, firmly committing myself to try to debunk and disbelieve anything strange so I would not be influenced by other people. It started harmlessly enough with thought exercises to relax, recall stuff you might have forgotten, or find the solution to a problem. On the second day, however, the stuff escalated to, now we'll try to learn a thing about each other with our minds. I turned on all my skeptic reasoning, but I followed along. We had to concentrate on a random unknown person in the room and try to get some images of their lives and then describe it to everyone. So we begin, and I focus on a girl in the room, and I do get something, the square of a small town with mountains in the distance, a bakery, an apartment nearby with a terrace, a dog that's jumping, and I reason that's all probably made up by imagination, so I decide to tell it back partially and see if the girl fills in the missing details. The conversation goes like this. Me. I saw a small town near some mountains and a shop of some kind on the corner. She says, a bakery? Me. Might be. That was my grandfather's bakery. I used to visit him sometimes. Me. And I saw also an apartment nearby with a terrace. She said, wow, that was his home. Me. Did he have a dog? A black and white dog? She said, yes, he died jumping from the terrace. I was really freaked out by this. Wow.
A closeted psychic.
Well, I think that I really do believe everybody has these abilities. I mean, I really think everybody does. Now, not everybody's willing to explore those things for whatever reasons, and that's not a judgment. That's just some people want to look into that and try to tap into whatever's possible, and other people are like, nope, I like my world like this, and that's why I want it to stay. And then other people just have a lot of work to do in order to uncover those things because of any number of reasons. But I would suggest that it's probably, I think you have to be able to get to a state of calm and being centered before you can really dial into this kind of stuff. And I think a lot of people aren't used to that because when you look at our modern age, we're not conditioned to be centered. We're conditioned to respond and to go and to try to do more and to be more efficient. And, there's everything pushing us away from our center. And so when somebody does go into a situation like this where they're actively trying to learn, then they're going to learn to get centered, and they might be surprised by, the stuff that does come. And maybe even being a skeptic was a powerful thing for this person because there was no stress. Like, I think that people that really believe that they want to be psychic are dealing with their own issues then too. Like, I want to be psychic. I want to say something that's important. Well, that's a stress that takes you off of your center and, have a harder time tapping into that. But the person that's like, yeah, I think this is all bunk. Oh, this came to me. Okay, I'm going to say it. Boom, and because I think that person's skepticism actually made it easier, if that makes sense.
It does. It's kind of like, those moments when you're, let's say you have a piece of garbage in your hand and you don't think you're going to hit it, so you throw it, you're just not really caring about it, and it goes in.
Sure.
But that makes sense because you're relaxed. You're not overthinking it. You're just letting everything flow. You know
Right.
what you want to happen, or
Right.
what would the best outcome be, and you're relaxed, so nothing's stopping that from happening.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I think there's something to it. I think there is. And I think everybody has these abilities. It's just we're not conditioned to explore them in the most cases. But I think a lot of people end up on that journey through their lives in some sense. At least coming to the place where they accept, hey, there's things I just don't understand. And that's pretty good for a lot of people.
Yeah.
All right. So the next one is flying gots, GHOTS. That's not
Nice.
flying ghost. That's a flying gots. From user CKD Cosmo 4805.
Goats.
I was at camp in the Adirondack Mountains, way upstate New York, sleeping on a tarp on the beach of an island in Lowe's Lake. My troop had gone out to this lake to watch a meteor shower that night, and while looking up, we saw what looked like an orange star, except it was moving at 90-degree angles. No satellite does that, nor does any plane or helicopter I know of. Crazy stuff. Well, there you go.
Oh.
I don't know why they called it a flying goat. I think they meant ghost, but it's a typo. But
Yeah.
I don't think that qualifies as a ghost necessarily. I think maybe they saw a UFO or something. But next one is creepy laughter from a deleted Reddit user. A friend and I were walking through a field. Bordering this field were two schools. One to the left of us that parented a field of its own, behind it for several hundred yards, and one to the front of us. Both of these schools were old, so as far as I know, built around the turn of the 20th century, maybe earlier. The one ahead of us was abandoned. We were passing through the field when, to our left, we heard the loud echoing sound of a prepubescent girly laughter. We bolted, freaked out. Things to consider. It was late at night, well past 10. It was in the middle of the damn summer, so school wasn't even in session. It was locked up real well, I'm sure. And we were far away from the school, and we could still hear it. It didn't sound like it was coming from speakers or a megaphone. It had an ethereal quality to it. Yep, that's creepy.
Oh, that'll do it.
That's apparently, I don't know how much more. This is the last one. Sympathy Ghost Pains is the last one, folks. From user Mike L. in PA, Pennsylvania, I guess. I'm the youngest of 5 and the only boy. My next sister is only 2 years older than me, and we were very close as kids. We would walk around hand in hand, and she would translate my baby talk for our parents to understand. She was my little mommy, and we are still very close. I would frequently hurt myself. I'm a klutz, car accidents, cuts, falls, etc. And sometimes she would feel it. Not always, but sometimes she would call me and ask if I was all right, or ask me about it the next time we saw each other. Occasionally, her pain would correspond to an injury that I had. To backtrack a bit, when I give blood or get blood drawn for tests, the techs usually use the same vein on the same arm, and I ask them to use the left arm so my right arm isn't sore, but they always tell me their veins aren't good there. So they go back and do the same old spot on the right arm.
Yep.
Makes it annoying to use the mouse with the inside of my elbow aching. One day, for no reason at all, that spot on my arm is hurting. It feels like I have an IV needle in my arm, the big one used to donate blood. I'd rub it, but it didn't change. I could feel that friggin' needle in my arm. For 3 days it hurt like that for no reason that I could find. And nothing I did made it feel better, to make it feel better worked. A few days later, I visited my sister's home and asked her if she'd given blood that week. She just stopped and stared at me for a minute and asked why. I explained about the phantom pain. She then tells me her daughter, my niece, had just driven back from college, and I only missed her by a few hours. She had blood drawn that week, and the tech blew the vein really bad. The arm was purple from shoulder to wrist on the inside of the arm, and she was sore as hell from it. I don't know why it only happens sometimes or at all, or if it is just all coincidence, but it is not consistent enough to test or validate it in any way, nor even put any rhyme or reason to it, but sometimes she feels my pain, and that one time I felt my niece's pain. Wow.
Wow.
Connections, huh?
Yeah.
I think that's
It
cool.
sounds like she blew an artery, not a vein.
Oh, really?
Jeez. Arm to wrist. That's a. I mean, I've seen blown veins in my old workplace, but never that bad. But that's an incredible story either way. Feeling that pain, like a phantom pain, like she said.
Right. And for those of you listening out there, Sheldon used to be a phlebotomist. Well, you were a lab tech anyway.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was a phlebotomist.
You
Yeah,
were?
I worked for
Okay.
the Red Cross and then at the hospital.
Yeah. So he knows what he's talking about with that stuff.
Yes, indeed.
That's interesting. But very cool stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed those stories. I thought they were kind of fun and thought it would be fun to discuss here on the show. But we're at the time of the show where we got to dig into another little mystery, and that is the trail cam terrors.
Ooh, all right.
Hope you all are ready, because here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Trail Cam Terrors. It's a segment of the show where we like to take a look at possible paranormal activity that was captured on either trail cams or closed circuit cameras, security cameras, other cameras. And I think I found a good one. And since we're talking about ghosts, kind of fits. Tonight's trail cam terror is coming from themirror.co.uk. So I found this one on the Mirror website, the UK Mirror. And it says, woman shares freaky security footage of ghost removing dog's collar. I'll play the video in a second, but I want to read the article first. It says, TikTok users are freaking out over the most convincing ghost videos they've ever seen. Let me blow this up a little bit. I know it's not on screen, but just bear with me. Okay. Dog owner Shani Fantji was rewatching security footage of her dogs when she saw what she believes is a ghost. Let me go back here and just put it on. She shares the clip of her account, user blah, 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 and then urged viewers to watch the black dog carefully. She wrote, sorry for the obnoxious barking at the beginning. Watch my black dog. Ghost takes her collar off in her crate. In the video, the two dogs are both in separate crates, are barking at each other. They continue to do this nonstop until about 25 seconds into the footage when the animals fell completely quiet and stand alert for some time. The black dog, which is in the cage on the right, starts whimpering, suddenly rears back into the cage as far as it can, and then its collar randomly falls off. This is what convinced its owner that there was a ghost. And she's not the only one that thinks it. Since being posted, the video has racked up more than 1 million likes and thousands of comments from people who say it's a ghost too. One person says, I've never seen such a convincing ghost video. Another wrote they both got super quiet and they felt the energy. A third commented, the silence was unsettling. Someone else put out, something that messes with the dogs doesn't sit right with me. Others suggested that the collar got caught on one of the bars in the metal crate, causing it to come loose. What is happening where you live? Well, let's take a look at the video and we'll see what you guys think. I think it's possible. Okay, let's have a look. Wow. That's bizarre. That is really bizarre.
Oh.
I want to get back to where that happens because you actually see the dog rearing back like something is grabbing onto the collar, and it can feel that.
Yeah,
There.
dog's freaked
Boom.
out.
Look at that. Right there. Let's play it again. Just frozen.
Wow.
Yeah. That is powerful.
That's actually a really good video. Wow, great capture.
It is. That's a hell of a capture, folks. I don't know. I'm going to put the link to it in the chat. If you guys want to check it out on your own, please do. But I got to admit, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me that just fell off. The dog is clearly reacting to something, like trying to touch it. It feels that tug or something on the collar or whatever, but it just freaks out, goes back in the corner, and then the collar actually falls off. I don't know. I think that could be legit. I think it could be legit a video.
I think it could be.
Yeah. Ruger says,
I mean, of course, there's always a chance of it, being completely fake and just really cleverly done. But I think for the sake of the show, I think that's a very good capture.
Oh, I do too. Let's see. Ruger says, it didn't take it off. It goosed the dog. Ooh, gross. Android Purity says, it's like the dog's sixth sense could sense the presence of the entity coming into the room several seconds before it grabs the collar. Yeah, it really does. Yeah, Dream says, damn, that looks like something was there taking the collar off. I agree. It looks like it got caught, but why did the dog freak? Yeah, the dog starts rearing before anything happens, like it's moving back, as if it's seeing something reaching for it or something. So I think it's pretty wild. I don't know what kind of collar it's wearing. I don't know what kind of closure it has, but it seems to me that something's up there. So believe what you will, folks. Obviously, this is never the course of the show to try to convince anybody of anything, but I think that's a pretty compelling video, and it very well may be the real thing. But
you're right. At the very least, it's compelling. Yeah.
But you be the judge. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. This has been a production of the Paranormal Portal. Hope you had a good time.
It took like 5 minutes and boom, we're already here.
Yeah, it doesn't take long, does it?
I'm never surprised by how fast. I never am. I'm always surprised by it.
Yeah, it goes quick. I'm not even used to it, and I've been doing it for 5 years.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun, they say, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you for being a part of it. Hey, buddy, want to come in and say hi? Yeah. You going to tell people what to do? All right, get over here and let everybody know what they should do.
Like and subscribe and hit the notification bell.
Woo! That's right. Give the boy a round of applause. Yeah, good job. All right, everybody, that's going to wrap it up for us here. Sheldon, anything in closing? Guess you found the buttons.
I guess not.
No, go ahead. What should they do, Sheldon?
For anybody new here, anybody not joined, we have a Discord channel, in case you didn't know. And in that Discord channel, we have great discussions, links shared between ourselves, and if you'd like to join, you can join the link here, right in the chats.
There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap it up for our journey tonight, so I hope you had a good time. Thanks, bud. Sure. You want to say that? Mm-hmm. Want to say it with me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Come over here. We'll say it together. So remember, everybody, we love you all.
Love you all.
Be good.
Be good.
Be kind.
Be kind.
Be nice.
Be nice.
Take care of each other.
Take care of each other.
Help each other out.
Help each other out.
Find the magic in every day.
Find the magic in every day.
And remember to laugh as much as you can.
And remember to laugh as much as you can.
Okay. Good night, everybody. You guys have a great night. And we'll see you next time here on the Paranormal Portal tomorrow night. We've actually got a couple guests coming from, they're from Bucks County Paranormal, are going to be joining Don and I in the first hour. And we're going to be talking about their investigations and stuff that they've been doing. They went to Bray Road. They went and checked out the Pine Barrens for the Jersey Devil. They've been out there doing a lot of different things. They've been doing a lot of different things. So we're going to have them on the show tomorrow night. So I hope you guys will check it out. That'll be the first hour. And then, of course, Don and I will march into the second hour and do what we can to keep you all entertained. So at any rate, please don't. At any rate, everybody, that's going to wrap it up for us. So good night, and we'll see you soon.